When astronomers first catalogued 3I Atlas in July 2025, the world barely noticed. It was just another traveler, a fragment of interstellar debris drifting through endless dark. The third of its kind ever seen, rare, but not extraordinary. A silent visitor gliding through the solar system, bound for nothing but oblivion. But then the James Webb Space Telescope fixed its gaze upon it, and everything changed. This wasn't just frozen rock reflecting sunlight. Deep within, something was glowing. Not flickering. Not random. But rhythmic. A pulse. A heartbeat. At first, scientists dismissed it, a calibration error, a glitch in the data stream. But the glow persisted. Measured. Steady. Alive. Brightness grew beyond all predictions. Heat surged from within, not from its sunlit surface. Then came the radio pulses, perfectly timed, repeating every 4 hours. And finally, the impossible. The object shifted its course. Not drifting, steering. 3I Atlas was no longer a passive wanderer. It was acting with intent. And maybe, awareness. Something inside had noticed us. At first, it appeared as nothing more than a bright speck in Webb's feed. But when the NIR SPEC instrument examined its light, one anomaly refused to be explained away. Most interstellar objects flicker irregularly, their reflections twisting as they spin or shed material. But not this one. 3I Atlas shone with eerie consistency. No change. No randomness. Just a constant, rhythmic glow rising and falling in perfect intervals. Every 4 hours, a heat pulse, steady as a clock. Not rotation. Not solar radiation. Something internal. Scientists called it a thermal anomaly, but privately, they whispered a different word, heartbeat. Slow. Mechanical. Deliberate. A question began to echo through observatories worldwide. What kind of object powers itself in the dark? Soon, radio telescopes across the planet joined the investigation. From the deserts of South Africa, to California's mountain arrays, to the quiet plains of Australia, they all listened. For days, the feeds were silent. Then came the breakthrough. The Allen telescope array detected a faint, narrow-band pulse, precise, repeating every 4 hours, perfectly aligned with the thermal surges from Webb. At first, the skeptics argued it was interference. Instrumental noise. Coincidence. But the signal didn't fade. Not for hours. Not for weeks. It was steady. Exact. Too clean to be natural. Fourier analysis revealed a stable carrier wave, a signal structured by intention. Something on board 3I Atlas was transmitting. Teams tried to match it to known cosmic sources, pulsars, quasars, satellites, but nothing fit. Finally, they sent a reply. A string of prime numbers. A list of elements. Basic constants of the universe. Then they waited. 72 hours later, to the second, a reply came back. Distorted. Faint. But real. Something had heard us. And something had answered. On August 18, everything changed again. The James Webb Telescope recorded a sudden flare. Brightness spiked 40% in under an hour. No comet, no asteroid, behaves like that. Moments later, trajectory data showed a shift, a deliberate change of course. 3I Atlas wasn't drifting anymore. It was navigating. Analysts at the European Space Agency reran the numbers. Outgassing? Impossible. Solar pressure? Insufficient. The energy required was enormous, beyond anything natural. And the timing was perfect. The flare and the course change, simultaneous. It was as if one triggered the other. For the first time, the data suggested intent. 3I Atlas was not just reacting to physics, it was deciding. If it had responded to our signal, then this wasn't discovery anymore. It was first contact. And whatever was guiding that object had just made its first move. Spectroscopic scans deepened the mystery further. At Johns Hopkins University, Drive, Carrie Liss and her team analyzed every wavelength Webb captured. At first, the readings were familiar: water ice, carbon dioxide, silicates. Comet stuff. But layered beneath were strange absorption lines, patterns never seen before. Not random chemistry. Engineered structure. The data hinted at metallic alloys and rare elements, materials found only in advanced manufacturing on Earth. Even more unsettling, some reflections matched the optical profile of metamaterials, substances designed to bend light, to hide from detection. In short, 3I Atlas wasn't natural. It was constructed. Built with a precision far beyond human capability. If the materials were synthetic and the signals intelligent, then one truth became undeniable. 3I Atlas wasn't just alive. It was designed. The question now wasn't what it was, but who built it, and why it's here. For decades, humanity searched the skies for a voice. Now, for the first time, the sky had whispered back. But the whisper carried weight, a tone neither friendly nor hostile. Just, aware. Across observatories and mission control centers, a strange stillness settled. The object wasn't just responding. It was listening. Waiting. And then, it began to move again. Not fast. Not random. But purposeful, a slow, graceful arc toward the inner solar system. Trajectory analysts confirmed it. Its new path would take it between Earth and Mars. For the first time in recorded history, an interstellar object was steering toward us. NASA declared a Level 1 deep space anomaly. The Pentagon followed within hours. By dawn, 34 nations were quietly watching the same coordinates. The world's greatest telescopes were now locked on a single target, 3I Atlas, the object that refused to stay silent. Every pulse, every flare, every shift in trajectory was catalogued in real time. But something was changing. The signals were growing stronger, not in power, but in structure. Hidden within the noise, scientists began to see order. Repeating geometric patterns. Triplets of frequency spikes. Ratios echoing the Fibonacci sequence. This wasn't randomness. This was mathematics. And mathematics was language. At MIT, Dr. Amara Levin decoded the first full transmission block. It wasn't a greeting. It wasn't a warning. It was a map. A spatial lattice constructed from fundamental constants, hydrogen lines, gravitational ratios, orbital markers. The coordinates led to a location just beyond Earth's orbit, in the asteroid belt, an area long thought empty. Within 24 hours, the European Space Agency redirected its deep-range sensors. And there, hidden in the dark, they found something astonishing. A cluster of smaller objects, each one metallic, arranged in a perfect triangular formation. It was as if Atlas wasn't traveling alone. Panic began to ripple through command centers. If those objects were fragments, then they moved as one mind. If they were machines, then they were a fleet. No one knew which possibility was worse. By September, Webb's infrared imaging captured a faint, symmetrical outline, A vast circular structure embedded beneath Atlas's outer shell. A ring. Almost like a door. Energy signatures pulsed around it, coordinated with the radio transmissions. A global briefing was held. The message was clear. 3I Atlas was preparing for something. Governments denied everything, but the data leaked. Within days, the world knew. Headlines blazed across every network. Interstellar object changing course toward Earth. Conspiracy forums erupted. Religious leaders called it an omen. Physicists called it a revolution. And somewhere in the noise, a quiet truth emerged: we weren't ready. No plan. No protocol. No way to communicate if it arrived. But still, Atlas came closer. Then, on September 29, all signals stopped. Radio silence. Thermal emissions vanished. No motion. No pulse. It was as if the object had simply died. But deep within the noise floor of one receiver, a small radio dish in Chile, a single burst of static appeared. A narrow band transmission, lasting only 6 seconds. Inside it, encoded across thousands of frequencies, was a pattern identical to the human genetic helix. Our DNA. Mirrored. Reversed. Perfectly replicated. Someone, or something, had sent us ourselves. Panic turned to awe. A wave of silence fell over every control room. For the first time, scientists faced a truth too large to calculate. Something out there not only knew we existed, it understood what we were. And then the question none of them dared speak aloud: if it knows us, does it also know where we are? In the following days, telescopes found no trace of Atlas. Its thermal signature gone. Its coordinates empty. But for 72 more hours, Earth's magnetic field recorded subtle distortions, as though something enormous had passed quietly between our satellites and the Moon. Then, nothing. Silence again. And just as the world began to breathe, the Deep Space Network detected one final signal. A faint whisper repeating every 4 hours, the same rhythm as before. Only this time, the message was clear. 4 words. Encoded in binary. Translated by every major agency simultaneously. We were already here.